Georgia TCU, which it could be possible. Could be possible. Obviously, Ohio State or Michigan's going to be out, but they could plug somebody else in ahead of TCU, depending on what they think. It's possible. At this point, I'll say this. TCU has shown me a ton. Yeah. I am extremely impressed with the way that they played this past week, given that it is Sonny Dykes. We can't forget, and I said this a few days ago, we can't forget that TCU is known for their defense because of Gary Patterson.
Yep.
Sonny Dykes comes from the air raid tree. He is not a defensive coach.
Right.
So the fact that they played as well as they did on defense against Texas this past week shows me that they are legit. That being said, against a lot of teams, yes, it's going to be a good game. Against Georgia, no. Georgia will run away with that one, in my opinion.
All right. I feel like I've both given TCU credit, but both the flip side, not given them enough credit throughout the year, where it's like, you know what, I always say TCU deserves to be there, but like I kind of end it there. I thought last weekend was a huge step. Texas at home is a different team. Texas at home had been playing really good football. Going into the game, I thought Bijan Robinson,
209 yards the week before.
And didn't even have 30.
Nope.
Yeah.
No. Texas as an entire offense didn't have 200. Quinn Ewers has been a different quarterback at home, and they shut him down. I'm confident they're going to be able to put up 25 points on any given night, even against Georgia. They can get to that 25-point mark. But can their defense hold tight? And I think they took a big step forward. So I don't want to discredit them. I don't want to say that this is a foregone absolute conclusion, though. If I had to bet, I had to put my money on something, it would be Georgia.
Let me add one more thing to that.
No problem.
The one thing that made me nervous, as good as TCU's defense played, the thing that made me nervous is Max Duggan took a step back to me. I thought he didn't play very well at all.
Right.
The moment seemed a little too big for him. The pressure was a little big on his shoulders. Hopefully for that ball club, that was all right, welcome to the show. Pressure's on. Media's talking about you every week. Let's get that one out of the way. Now let's just settle down and go play ball. But I didn't think he played all that well. Jake?
But does that not happen to every single quarterback at least once?
Good point.
But Kendrick Miller steps up.
I hated this line as a player, but I'm a what have you done for me lately kind of guy now.
It's true.
But here's the thing.
Let's see how he plays this week. Going on the road, another road game. Baylor didn't look great last week, but let's see, can he bounce back this week? I will panic with you and question
saying Baylor didn't look great last week is
might be a little easy on him.
You're taking it easy on him. But I will say this, Kendrick Miller stepped up in a huge way.
Yeah.
And that's why they got over the hump. So we're talking about we talked TCU versus Georgia. If you're a team and you get to design a team, right? You're a coach, you get to design a team. Jake, I'm gonna kick it with you first. How do you beat Georgia?
So when you look at where Georgia struggled this year, you go back to Kent State, Missouri, and Florida, and you say, why do they struggle? And I think the common theme is turnovers. When they've been turning the ball over and they've been giving the ball away, they've let teams hang around.
Sure.
I don't know that you can emphasize it during the week. That doesn't always translate. Turnovers are a funny thing where you can't exactly quantify it or say this is the one thing we do. You just have to take advantage when the opportunities are there. You have to, if the ball carrier is loose with the ball, it has to be a point of emphasis to not just bring down the tackle, try to punch at it while you're there. If you could force some turnovers, and I guess it's not only isolated to Georgia too, turnover margin is one of the best analytics to
it's one of the biggest indicators of success.
100%. That would be your one thing you would say. And when you're TCU, you also it works in unison with the fact that you're an explosive offense where it's like, hey, if we can take scoring opportunities away, give our offense more scoring opportunities and take advantage of that, I think you got a pretty solid chance of at least having a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter. Turnover margin has been the key indicator for where Georgia struggled this year.
Trevor, how do you beat Georgia?
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of your answer there, Jake. I think that what Georgia has going for them right now is, despite some of the turnovers, they're riding this wave. And I've mentioned it multiple times this year as the been there before wave. The moment's never going to be too big for Georgia this season because of what everybody on that roster was a part of last year. Now, some of those guys may have been standing on the sidelines. There's a few of those guys that are freshmen that weren't there, but everybody has been there before. And so it's not a week-to-week thing for them. They're just riding this wave that's started way out, in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, and it's working its way in to crash on the shore, right? So creating turnovers and creating adversity, I think, early in the game, matching their intensity, but not even just matching it, but having more intensity, coming out and just punching them in the mouth, getting them shocked, getting their head spinning in a 15-round prize fight, and just keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. If anybody on the opposition is not walking out of that stadium with zero energy, looking themselves in the mirror saying, I left everything out on the field, they're not going to be walking out there winning. That's how good Georgia is. But they are gettable. I don't know if they're beatable yet, but they're gettable. So I will agree with you. Creating turnovers may be the only way to beat Georgia at this point.
So I want to dive a little deeper into this, Trevor, because you mentioned punching them in the mouth, and you talked about turnovers, and Jake mentioned turnovers. If you're a coach, what's your game plan offensively to attack this defense?
I'll go ahead, Jake.
Jake's face.
Man, you want me to start? I mean, listen.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a tough matchup, man. I mean, look what Tennessee did. I mean, Tennessee.
I know. Yeah.
Look at Tennessee, right? I mean, if you're a coach, you would say, let's bring in Hendon Hooker. Let's take it. I would love to have Tennessee's offense. If you're a coach, you would feel great about Tennessee's offense. Didn't look too good.
Yeah.
I saw what happened to Michigan last year too. That was a physical offensive line, a physical run game. The speed of that defense was and is at a high level. I really do believe, though, it's the same thing as what you're saying, Trevor. You go into the week with a rack of a couple openers for each situation. The importance on capitalizing there, because as an opponent going into the game how good Georgia is. And so does Georgia. And so does everybody in the stands. And that means something. So if you go 3 and out on series 1 and they score, even if it's a field goal, and then you get the ball back and you go 3 and out and you're really struggling, I know the conversations on those sidelines. You can see it in the look in your coach's eyes. You never quit. You never don't go out there and try, but you've kind of confirmed the belief. Exactly. The importance of starting fast. And it's kind of one of those subjective things, but the importance of starting fast, if you can convert a couple third downs, all of a sudden that same emotion you were feeling is pushed on Georgia, where they're saying, hey, we know who we are. We should be getting off the field, and we aren't. The first starting fast, those 10 plays and converting in situational football, it can start to even out some of those odds throughout the game. It's not going to be easy. There's no one that's going to be favored at playing that team. It's an excellent football team.
Trevor, what's the first play you call against this Georgia team?
So I've always had this debate. When I was a player, I had this debate with every offensive coordinator I played for.
Sure.
And I was always like, all right, why are we running inside zone the first play of this game? And they would give me an answer. Hey, why are we taking a shot the first play of this game? And they would give me an answer. And I haven't been able to figure out why or why not across multiple different coaches. if I was calling the game in a big time game like this, I would lean on the preparation. What have they ran? What type of defense do they typically come out in? Is it base defense? And they're going to say, hey, we're going to come out in base defense, run whatever you want on us, and then we'll get into our stuff. Are they dialing it up on the first play of the game? What do the analytics say about what this team is? And I would just go on those percentages. And if it's 51% of anything, or if it's a majority of anything, my first play would be to attack that regardless. And I would tell my quarterback and my offense, hey, we're going to attack this, whether it's inside zone or a shot. It doesn't matter. This is the play that's going to work versus this defense. If it's something else, there's your check down. And check it down, and we'll move on down the road. Or, hey, if they don't give us the look for the inside zone, we've got run pass out here. Throw the quick screen and move on down the road. But I would go to the analytics of what do they run, and I would attack that regardless of what it is.